I always maintain, and hopefully that the young people in the future will stand on the same principles of sovereignty. We have an inherent right to the land. We have an inherent right to be here. Creator put us here first, which we call Turtle Island. They came after. I personally don't recognize the provincial boundary. This is our land. It's not Saskatchewan, it's not Alberta. This is Onion Lake territory. So that's the sovereign relationship, the sovereign. And I understand from listening to many people and talking to many different people, and especially youth across the land wherever I run into them. There's a hunger and a desire. It's like the spirit is awakened now to find that identity as who we are as a people.
You know, so language is really important because maybe in the future they'll ask you if you can speak your language in Cree, like talk about the treaty in Cree.
Oh yeah,
so
if you can't do that, you'll just take it away.
We're all placed somewhere, and this is where I'm from. No matter what happens with treaty or whatever, I know where my people are from, my own families that I'm from, but also that we've been placed here in this specific area of the world to live. And we kind of always had this desire to develop things here in the community as opposed to you know, relying on other areas. We've always tried to develop it right within the community that people could thrive and grow in their own land. We really have persevered through a lot, and that makes me very happy and proud that we have that foundation that has truly been from the ones before us. And we can build off of that. Like they say, everything you do is on the shoulders of the ones that were before you. So it's never just, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. We try and think ahead even when we make decisions about how it's going to affect, you know, 3, 4, 5, 6 generations down. We try and keep in mind as leaders when we're making decisions, but very, very proud of the resilience that we've had.
It makes me proud. I'm very proud of our nation for the accomplishments we've established for our nation. I.e., we have an Onion Lake gas co-op. I believe we're the first ones to own and operate our gas co-op in our community. We're the very first nation to actually have a thermal project on First Nations land. I'm very proud of that. We always seem to be taking the drive and the step ahead to be the first to try and accomplish something. And we're not too scared to share our acknowledgement or our experiences or our difficulties where we've tripped to help other First Nations to strive ahead as well. And that's one thing we like to try and accomplish, is trying to help not only our nation but every other First Nation that surrounds us. Yes.
What makes me proud? Wow, the resources we have. The foundation itself is what makes me proud. The education, how many schools we have. We're so advanced. We're so advanced. Our water line, you know, we don't get our water delivered. Our own gas where they provide fuel, you know, to heat up the houses. Nobody has to truck in, propane or diesel like back in the day, or haul wood like back in the day. I'm proud of that. I'm proud of a lot of things that are there for the younger generation. Education is really the most important right now. Support from our leadership. I'm proud of that, because we got to keep this wheel going and never stop, for our younger generation. And I'm proud of our First Nations community.
In November of 2014, Chief Fox and Sharon Venn approached me to look at the FNFTA, the Transparency Act, that the Conservatives were Bill C-27 putting in, or trying to pass, and obviously looking at it very quickly realized that there was constitutional issues with respect to Treaty 6 and privacy. Privacy, the courts have recognized, in the federal court, Canada, they've recognized since 1968 that the financial affairs of a First Nation are private to the members of the band, and it's their information and when and how they want to disseminate that. Also, it was interesting that Onion Lake First Nation was recognized by the federal government as being one of the top bands in Canada for transparency, accountability, and giving financial information when and as required by the federal government, INAC. So there's no problems with giving this sort of information. The problem came where they wanted to publish it to the World Wide Web, where everybody had access to this information, and that, of course, is offside.
The law came to pass in Parliament, and we still maintain that. Under that legislation, all Canadians are protected under the Privacy Act. The way I interpret it, and I'm no legal mind for that matter, but my layman interpretation of that is C-27 exempts all Indian people from that privacy legislation. It's discriminatory because no other race has to abide by this legislation. It creates an economic disadvantage for our people because the competitors out there, if we're competing for business outside the community, all they would have to look at is our businesses, our gravel crusher or whatever, or fluid hauling or service rigs. So they can look at our financial statements, yet we can't. We don't have the same privilege to other competitors, so they can underbid us. So that creates an economic disadvantage for our people.
It was kind of a scary situation when the bill was passed. Sorry, the future looked uncertain. It almost looked like, oh, here we go again. We're going into the slave era kind of thing, right? We're going into bondage, and that kind of stoked a fire, I guess, within this, and said, no, we cannot let that happen. And and so when we decided to fight it, I was really gung ho for it. That was kind of sharpen the spear kind of thing and go in the front line kind of sort of, yeah.
Chief Fox was someone that is very strong spiritually, as well as an individual that feels very, very strongly about First Nation rights. I have acted for First Nations for quite a few decades. In this case, when he came to me, struck me as something that has to be protected, that these are rights that First Nations have that were being breached, and this needed to go to court. So I was very, very interested and very motivated to take this case on and go as far as we have to.
At the end of the day, we were the only ones that went into that process, in that court. And they sued us for breach of their law. So we stood our ground. They did everything they could to undermine, to intimidate us. They withheld funds. They called our staff. Everything they could. Even our own source revenue, they tried to put a halt on it. And I kept telling our council and letting, collectively, we kept saying, no, we're going to stand together. So I would convey messages back to them and said, if you withhold our money, fine. We're not going to change our position.
That wouldn't have been not the end. We would have gone into our lands, municipalities, taxation comes in. That was their goal, to eradicate everything that we so dear to us. That's the land, that's our teacher. The air, the water, the fire, all the species. Those are all our teachers, all our educators somehow. Look at the big powwows, how beautiful they are. You see it there. There's much more to this than... It's very good stuff, but I wish people would just understand it.
My late grandfather always told us, grandchildren, you stand up and fight for what you believe in, whether you're a person individually fighting or as a nation. And he once told me, my granddaughter, if you ever become a leader, you be that voice. Don't be scared. You follow your heart. So, and I trust our leadership. So I went with the recommendations that Chief Fox instilled in us too. So I was very, very excited that we are moving forward and challenging the government.
The vision for the future for Onion Lake is to become a sovereign nation. A sovereign nation that is strong, that has treaty-based funding arrangements and agreements to pursue in the future of our people. That is what we are trying to do for our community, and we will continue in the office of the treaty governments to pursue in those actions that are given to us to proceed from the knowledge keepers, which are our elders.
Because we've been involved in oil and gas, and with my colleagues and my colleagues within Onion Lake Energy itself, the staff, we negotiated a good deal for our future, for the younger generation. Instead of our money going into the capital now, it goes into a safe trust, and it's just going to grow. The royalty structure we receive for our nation is really beneficial for our future generations, for our younger youth. From years from now, they'll always have that money flowing into our nation, and very proud of that. So eventually our nation could be self-sufficient down the road as the years go on. So I mean, we just started off the second phase. We negotiated a good deal on behalf of myself and my colleagues. I'm very proud of where we're going. We're looking at a $10 to $13 million recreational facility for our nation, with the negotiations on this oil deal. So swimming pool, gymnasium, things like that for our younger generation. So not all our younger youth play hockey. So I mean, there'll be more activity now for our younger generations within the nation.
Education is a portfolio, is one of the programs of the nation that I'm really, really proud of. Because since we took over our own education system, leaders of the day decided that we wanted our own people to be the teachers, be the administrators. And that's a part of having control of your education system, is having our own people be the teachers.
Quite a few of our young people that are attending university now in different colleges like Lakeland, and I'm so proud of them, and when I see them, I always tell them, how proud I am of them, for for taking the step to further their education.
That boy, it's very important today to have your education. Yeah, if you apply for a job, quit him going.
I am in my 3.5 years of Indigenous social work and Indigenous studies at the First Nation University campus in Saskatoon. One thing I would like to bring out is that Onion Lake really did support me in a lot of things on my healing journey. I work with a lot of youth. We need to depend on ourselves. Go back to school, get an education. Why? Because it's not going to be here forever. I don't want to see our people going down. I've been down that route, I lived it, and if I can do it, everybody else can do it.
Ja, snamat uno maya. Ebstegi tega pogoja kagisik snamak so ja. Ekse pogogojski sidmacja egoja moja gani hewia ma ego moja mamutawi no ja emigo ja. It's a gift from God. See. My grandfather used to say to big up matzia, we only live once. So gatusketan means work hard. I'm grateful for the membership and the citizens of Onion Lake that they've allowed me to be a part of this governance all these years. And it's without them and without the elders' knowledge that I wouldn't be speaking the way I'm speaking today. And I want to give a special recognition and acknowledgements to the past elders and leaders that brought us to where we are today. On the continuing of the stand for the inherent right and further affirmed in the treaty process. These are things that I would like to see into the future. And the old spiritual people that have taught me and shared many of their knowledge was you got to look far into the future, as they have done for us back in 1876. You have to look that far, grandson, they said, to see what that vision, how you would see and what you will leave for the generations yet to come.
Hego homane hiau hewan mapukata pachita hitahwa ki semoya chigema hewa magiano egi migusiak bixco tapachita tapmgagi semotatae tapmbixwata kohtauin hega itawan kiskisia hewa mapixco kaki ke wam takwa pachita he takwa no takia no kskena ma to kamek ne he awasak ekskena machk ne he opixkon tap ma pachigot uteni van